Good morning, grade 11 students. Last meeting in our first quarter, we talked about the communication, the nature of communication, the process of communication, and some models of communication. It's all about the introduction or giving a brief knowledge about what is information all about and the communication, in particular communication in the different contexts of communication. And for our second quarter, we will be talking about the types of speech contexts. Okay, so let me just share my screen for to you. So this is our topic for today, types of speech context. Okay, so as you go over with my lecture, recorded lecture for today, this particular PowerPoint presentation from the slideshare.com is my reference, my valid reference, which is really supporting the topic that we have. So I will be just importing this PowerPoint and switch also with my recorded lecture for your knowledge to be supported. Okay, so our topic is about types of speech contexts. Okay, so we are communicating. When we are speaking, there are different types that a human is considering. Number one, we have what we call the intrapersonal communication. This is the type of communication that centers on one person where the speaker acts both as a sender and receiver. Okay, again, in intrapersonal, the speaker, for example, me, I will be acting as a sender of information. At the same time, I will be receiving the information from the sender. Okay, so basically, when we say interpersonal, according to Heibels and Weaver, 2012, on page 16 of their book, this is a message made up of your thoughts, sabihin, your thoughts, your ideas, your opinions, and feelings as well. Of course, as we communicate, it was influenced by what we are thinking and what we feel at that particular moment. The channel is your brain. When we say channel, this is the instrument in order for you to process. Okay, it processes what you are thinking and feeling. Of course, with the presence of your brain, it processes the information that you get from your surroundings. That's why you think and what you feel. How are you going to respond to different situations? Okay, there is a feedback in the sense that as you talk to yourself, you discard certain ideas and replace them with others. Which means to say, when we say intrapersonal communication, after you receive the information, you give feedback. With that feedback, you become now the sender of information. Okay? Did you get me? Again, intrapersonal communication, it is a communication, okay? It is a communication wherein you become the sender, and you also become the receiver. Okay, and then you give the feedback in a sense that you talk to yourself. Okay, which means when we say intrapersonal, it is a communication within yourself. Okay, so again, intrapersonal is a communication within yourself. You talk to yourself. And this is actually a very good habit also if you have intrapersonal communication, because this is where you could reflect. This is where you could always ask yourselves if you're doing right or wrong. Okay, reflection, realization. When you realize something, you will be asking yourself. Okay, you will be building your interpersonal communication. Like, you will ask yourself, did I make it correct? Okay, did I do it right? Okay, did I say something wrong with my friend? That's building your interpersonal communication. That's the time you realize, okay, you learn something, you reflect on something. It's building your intrapersonal communication. Again, interpersonal communication is a communication within yourself. You become the sender of the message. Also, you receive the message. Okay? I hope that is clear to everyone. Example, you spend the night thinking and analyzing why a student from other class talked to you on the way home, and you decided it probably meant nothing. Which means, put yourself in a situation wherein someone is talking about you, you become their topic with the circle of their friends, and then You are thinking all night long, why are they talking about me? What is the reason why they are talking about me? Actually, that's interpersonal communication because you are talking to yourself. You're asking the question to yourself. Okay? And then by that time, you also realize that probably it just means nothing at all. It's nothing. So that's your answer. That's your feedback. That's intrapersonal communication. Communication within yourself. And then another example, you felt happy while thinking about how your teacher appreciated you for submitting your project before due date, and you reflected on why this was so. Okay, example, you submitted the task and on time before the due date. Okay, and then you appreciated that much, your teacher appreciated that much, and then you reflected. Okay, why did your teacher appreciate? Why did my teacher gave me so much of praises, so much of good words, or saying you are very responsible enough, you submitted on time, you reflected, you asked yourself, and by the time you also realize that it is because of your good act of submitting and being responsible in your activities or of your tasks. Okay, that's intrapersonal communication as well. And then now we go with the interpersonal communication. This type of communication between and among and establishes personal relationship. Again, when we say interpersonal communication, this is a type of communication between and among people, and you are establishing personal relationship with others. Of course, this is very common, and we are always doing this every day because communication is part of our survival. Communication is one way of us expressing our thoughts, our feelings, our needs to people around us. We are communicating. And that type of communication is what we call interpersonal relationship or communication. Okay? We are communicating with other people. We are establishing personal relationship. So on, according to Solomon and Z's 2013, the word inter means highlights how interpersonal communication connects people. Again, interpersonal, from the word itself, inter, it is how we connect with people. It is how we deal with other people. Despite of our differences in background, with how we look, with how we perceive things around us, we still connect with people because of our thoughts, and that is what we call interpersonal communication. Okay, inter from the word itself highlights interpersonal communication that connects with people. And then we have this what we call personal, part of the word interpersonal. It is a unique qualities as a person matter during interpersonal communication. Again, we are connecting with the people. That is why this is what we call, or we call it so, as a personal. Okay, because this is a personal matter of communicating with other people. Okay, example, interpersonal communication or relationship is your relationship with your parents, with your family members. That is what we call interpersonal relationship, or you're having a communication with them interpersonally because you are exchanging thoughts with the people around you, not within yourself. Because if it is for yourself, that's intrapersonal. Okay? Interpersonal with other people, with your teachers, with your friends around you, and so on. Interpersonal communication with other people. We have different types of interpersonal contexts. First, we have the dyad communication. This occurs between two people. Sample, you offered feedback on speech performance of your classmate. Okay, of course, this is occurring between two people. You give feedback. Okay, you provided comfort to a friend who was feeling down. Okay, that is what we call an example of dyad communication. Again, it occurs between two people, only two people. That's what we call dyad communication. We also have what we call the small group. It involves at least 3, but not more than 12 people engaging in a face-to-face interaction to achieve desired goal. Okay, so this is another type of communication we call small group. Only 3, but not more than 12. We categorize it as a small group, and then you have an achieve, or you have a desired goal. For example, in a small meeting, your goal is to achieve what we need to do. Okay, for the following activities. That's what we call a small group, because you have a goal while you are talking. You are grouped together because you have a meeting. Small group. All participants can freely share the ideas in a loose and open discussion. Okay, so in this case, in the small group, all participants can freely share the ideas, which means it's really a group of people having a meeting and asking the opinion of other people. That's why we are free to share our thoughts, our ideas in a loose and open discussion, which means this is an open discussion. It is open for suggestions, opinions, thoughts, and ideas of others. Because when we are having meeting, this is not only the want or the idea of one member, but the rest of the members. Because this is an open discussion. We call it the small group. Okay. Moreover, with the example, you are participating in an organizational meeting which aims to address and concern your students. Like if, for example, me, I set a meeting with the grade 11 students, and that's the time it is a called small group if it does not exceed 12 members. And aside from that, I am addressing the concerns of the students. How am I able to address or solve the problem or concerns of the students? That's example of a small group. Another one, you are having a discussion with your group mates on how to finish the assigned tasks. Okay, small group, not more than 12. Okay, and then you are, for example, you are inside the library. There is a small discussion room, and that's the time you talk with your friends. We have a task in English or oral communication to be submitted on this day. So you will strategize, you will talk with your friends. How are you going to finish the assigned task? You have the desired goal. That's what we call small group. Okay. Moreover, we also have public. When we say public communication, requires you to deliver the message in front of the group. Okay. So basically, this is about public speaking. Okay. So according to research, most also of the Filipinos do still have difficulty in public speaking and still have the stage fright when it comes to speaking in public. Okay, that is why we are talking about this oral communication to also produce students, to shape students who could speak in public confidently. Okay, message can be driven by informational and persuasive purposes. So when we are speaking in public, there are different purposes that we need to consider. It may be informational, which means we are just giving information, or persuasive purposes. We are entertaining people, or we are persuading people. We are marketing people. We are convincing or influencing people around us. The channels are more exaggerated. Voice is louder. This is true because you are speaking in public. When you are speaking in public, in our topic oral communication, your voice needs to be a loud one. Your gestures are more as expansive due to bigger audience, which means to say, when we are in public speaking demands so much of your voice, so much of your actions, your gestures, and the way you persuade your message. You persuade people around you. Okay? Because you need to achieve your goal. You need to achieve your purpose of speaking. May I just repeat? This is according to Hybels and Weaver 2012. Public speaking demands your voice to be louder, your gestures to be more expansive due to the bigger audience. Because when you are speaking in public, many people, many ears are listening to you. It is demanded for you to persuade or to give your information accordingly, and for the people around you to give or to understand and comprehend your message, and for you yourself as a public speaker to achieve your desired goal of transferring the information to your listeners. Okay, that's public speaking. Another example, you deliver a graduation speech to your batch. That's public speaking because you give the message to the rest of the graduates. You participate in declamation or a rhetorical contest or debate watched by many people. This is another example of a public speech or public speaking because you are presenting the speech, the information by means of these different oratorical contests, just like declamation. Declamation is a public speaking contest that really that you need to characterize yourself, that you have the emotion, you have to act. Okay, oratorical contest or debate needs so much of your courage in public speaking. Okay, we also have what we call mass communication. This communication takes place through television, radio, newspapers, magazines, books, billboards, internet, and other types of media. So basically, when we say mass communication, it is a communication with the people that the objective is to give relevant information, especially information that are necessary for our community, for our society. This means these are the news, okay? These are factual information. Example, you are a student journalist, articulating your stand on the current issues through the school newspaper. So in the school, there's a newspaper, and then as a journalist, you would like to take a stand or you would like to give your opinion or comment or give news, okay, to the particular issue going on in your school. You can publish that in a school newspaper because you are a student journalist, okay? Another example is the broadcasters, okay, the journalists, particular in different radio stations or televisions that have news reports. They are journalists, and what the type of communication that they are doing is what we call the mass communication. We have the different types of speech styles. We have the speech style because when we say speech style, the content dictates and affects the way people communicate, which results in various speech styles. Okay, so when we are talking about speech style, we have different style when we are expressing ourselves, expressing our information. According to Jews 1968, there are 5 speech styles. These are intimate, casual, consultative, formal, and frozen. Let's get to know more about of these different styles. But this style dictates what appropriate language or vocabulary should be used or observed. Okay, when we consider a particular speech style, we also need or to match it with an appropriate language or vocabulary for us to justify that kind of speech style. Now, let's go first with the intimate. This style is private, which occurs between or among close family members or individuals. The language used in this style may not be shared in public. Because when we say intimate, this is a communication or style communication that you have a close relationship with. For example, your parents, your very close best friend, your very close sibling, or your partner, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your wife or husband. Okay, that's an intimate relationship or intimate style of communication because this is private. Okay, it's not in public. Not all communication happen intimate style of communication with your partner, okay, with your family, with your husband or wife, will be shared only between the two of you. That's why it is called private. That's intimate style of speech. Another one we have is what we call speech style casual. The style is common among peers and friends. Jargon, slang, or other vernacular language are used. When we say jargon, slang, vernacular language, these are the language that we are comfortable with. Because when we say casual, this is the very basic and common speech style that we are using when we are communicating with our friends, okay, with our peers, with our workers. Sometimes we use words that are not common, okay, language or words that you are comfortable with, okay? For example, mga salitang Becky, salitang pangkalye, mga salitang balbal or salitang very common or you are comfortable with, that's what we call jargon, slang, or vernacular language that you are using when you are considering the speech style casual with your friends. We also have what we call the consultative. This style is the standard one. Again, this speech style is the standard. Professional or mutually acceptable language is a must in the style, which means this is a must or it is needed, okay, for every one of us to use this style, especially in professionally aspect. Okay, example situations, communication between teachers and students. We are using consultative speech style because we are professionally communicating the thoughts to our students, employers and employees, doctor and patient, judge and lawyer, or president. This is what we call consultative speech style because it is professionally done. Ginagawa siya kasi part ng trabaho. That's part of your job, okay? That's part of your profession. And another one we have is what we call formal. This style is used in formal setting basically. Unlike consultative style, this is one way. Examples are sermons of priests and ministers. This is example of formal. Okay, because in consultative, it is somehow casual as well, but it was professionally done. But when we say formal, it's really formal. It's a speech that needs to be delivered formally. Okay, another one, State of the Nation address of a particular president, that's formal speech. We also have what we call a frozen. When we say frozen speech style, in time remains unchanged. This cannot be changed. It is distinct. It is locked. It is permanent. Mostly occurs in ceremonies. For example, preamble to the Constitution. Okay, of course, it's a law. It's a preamble. It cannot be changed. Lord's Prayer, of course, that's frozen because we could not change the content. And allegiance to country or flag. Another one, the lupang hinirang. Okay, it's a frozen content of the speech style or the content of information. That's what we call the frozen language speech style. Okay, so just review the lesson we have for today. The content of this is to be imported in our e-class and just be updated because right after this we'll be having a quiz. Okay, have a good day everyone and good morning.